Every single day, many people unknowingly invite high blood pressure into their lives through small, seemingly harmless habits. It's not always about big, obvious mistakes. Sometimes it's those quiet little choices we make, the ones we barely even notice, that can send our blood pressure climbing higher and higher. For example, something as simple as sprinkling a little extra salt on your food might not feel like a big deal, but for your arteries, it can be like pouring fuel on a fire. Salt holds onto water in your body, forcing your heart to pump harder and harder, and over time, that constant pressure can damage your blood vessels. Seniors in particular are more sensitive to these effects because our arteries naturally lose some elasticity with age. Then there are processed snacks, crisps, biscuits, packaged soups, foods that seem innocent enough but are often loaded with sodium and hidden preservatives. These don't just add up in your diet, they sneak up, hitting your blood pressure before you even realize it. And we can't forget sugar. You might think sugar has nothing to do with blood pressure. It's more about diabetes, right? But here's the hidden truth. High sugar intake triggers weight gain, causes insulin spikes, and increases inflammation in your blood vessels. All of these factors make it harder for your heart to pump blood smoothly. Even those sweetened breakfast cereals, or so-called healthy flavored yogurts, can be quietly nudging your numbers upward. But here's the tricky part. Most of these habits don't make you feel sick in the beginning. You can go months or even years with elevated blood pressure and not feel a single symptom. That's why it's called the silent killer. By the time dizziness, headaches, or shortness of breath start showing up, the damage is often already underway. So, it's not about giving up everything you love. It's about becoming aware and making small swaps. Replace that extra pinch of salt with herbs and spices. Trade packaged snacks for a handful of unsalted nuts or fresh fruit. Choose water or herbal tea over sugary drinks. Every small choice you make in the right direction takes pressure literally off your heart and arteries. Because the truth is, your heart's health tomorrow depends on the choices you make today. Stress is one of the most underestimated and dangerous triggers for high blood pressure. Yet it's a part of life we often brush aside, thinking it's just in our head. The truth is, the moment you feel anxious, worried, or angry, your body reacts as if it's in danger. Your brain signals your adrenal glands to release stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones cause your heart to beat faster, your blood vessels to tighten, and your blood pressure to rise instantly. For younger people, this might not seem like a big deal because their arteries are still flexible. But for seniors, that sudden pressure surge can be much more harmful. The walls of aging arteries can't absorb the strain as easily, which means every spike is putting you closer to heart attack or stroke territory. Daily stress doesn't always come from major life events. It often hides in the little things, rushing to get somewhere on time, worrying about bills, arguing with a family member, or even just overthinking the future. These moments might seem small, but when they pile up, they keep your blood pressure elevated for hours. And if stress becomes a constant companion, your body starts to adapt to this high alert state, which means elevated pressure becomes your new normal. Over time, that's a dangerous place to be. The good news is you can fight back and you don't need expensive equipment or complicated routines to do it. Something as simple as closing your eyes, taking slow, deep breaths, and focusing on each inhale and exhale for just a minute can lower your blood pressure almost immediately. Gentle stretching, a short walk, listening to calming music, or even talking to a supportive friend can break that stress cycle before it does damage. For seniors, activities like gardening, reading, light yoga, or spending time with grandchildren are more than just hobbies. They're natural blood pressure medicine. And remember, the goal isn't to erase stress completely. That's impossible. The goal is to learn how to interrupt its grip on your body before it harms you. When you catch yourself tensing up, take it as a warning sign. Give yourself permission to pause, breathe, and reset. Your heart and blood vessels will thank you for every single moment you choose, calm over chaos. Because protecting your blood pressure is also protecting your life. Caffeine and alcohol are two of the most common parts of daily life that can quietly push your blood pressure higher without you realizing it. You might think I've been drinking tea or coffee for years, it doesn't affect me. But the truth is, Even a moderate amount can have a noticeable effect, especially as we age. Caffeine stimulates your nervous system, causing your heart to beat faster and your blood vessels to narrow. This sudden tightening means your blood has less space to flow, and your blood pressure rises. For some people, that spike might be small, but for seniors whose arteries are already less flexible, the rise can be significant. And it's not just coffee, black tea, green tea, energy drinks, and even some sodas can pack enough caffeine to keep your pressure elevated for hours. Then there's alcohol, often seen as a way to relax at the end of the day. While one small glass may not seem harmful, alcohol raises blood pressure in more ways than one. First, it acts as a stimulant at certain doses, speeding up your heartbeat. Second, it interferes with the way your body regulates fluids and electrolytes, which can lead to long-term increases in blood pressure. Over time, regular drinking, even in what you believe are safe amounts, can harden your arteries, weaken your heart muscle, and make it much harder for your blood vessels to stay healthy. For seniors whose bodies process alcohol more slowly, even small amounts can have a stronger and longer-lasting effect. The challenge is that caffeine and alcohol often become daily habits without us thinking twice. That morning coffee becomes a ritual. The evening drink becomes a routine. Breaking or adjusting these habits doesn't mean you have to give them up entirely, but it does mean being mindful. Try switching to decaf or herbal teas that are naturally caffeine-free. If you drink alcohol, limit it to special occasions, and make sure you have water alongside it to keep your system balanced. What matters most is understanding that these aren't just harmless indulgences. They can directly affect your heart and blood vessels every single day. By making small, conscious adjustments now, you can protect yourself from the slow, silent damage they can cause over time. Because every sip you choose wisely today is an investment in a healthier tomorrow. One of the most dangerous things for your blood pressure isn't something you eat or drink. It's something you don't do enough of. Physical inactivity has quietly become one of the leading contributors to high blood pressure, especially for seniors. When you spend long hours sitting, whether it's watching TV, using the computer, or simply staying in one place, your blood flow slows down. Over time, this lack of circulation makes your arteries stiffer and less responsive. Your heart has to pump harder to push blood through those narrowed vessels, and that constant extra effort is exactly what raises your blood pressure. The body is designed for movement, and when it doesn't get enough, everything suffers. Muscles weaken, metabolism slows, and the balance of sodium and fluids in your system gets disrupted. For seniors, the risks are even greater because muscle mass naturally declines with age, making it harder to maintain good circulation. And unlike some other health problems, inactivity doesn't just show up after years. It begins affecting your blood pressure within days or weeks. That's why you might notice your blood pressure readings creep up after a period of reduced activity, like during bad weather or after recovering from illness. The good news is that you don't have to run marathons or spend hours at the gym to see a positive effect. Even light, consistent movement can make a huge difference. A short walk after each meal, gentle stretching in the morning, or simple chair exercises while watching television can all help keep blood flowing and your arteries flexible. Gardening, light household chores, or dancing to your favorite music also count as valuable physical activity. The key is consistency. Doing a little every day is far more beneficial than doing a lot once in a while. When you move your body regularly, you not only improve circulation, but also help manage weight, reduce stress, keep your heart muscle strong. It becomes a chain reaction of benefits, each one supporting the next, and all working together to bring your blood pressure down. If you've been living a mostly sedentary lifestyle, the most important step is simply starting. Your heart doesn't care if you begin with 10 minutes a day. It just cares that you begin, because every step you take today is one less step toward dangerously high blood pressure tomorrow. Many people are surprised to learn that certain medications and even some natural supplements can quietly raise blood pressure. You might be taking something for pain relief, a cold, or even a skin allergy without realizing it's putting extra strain on your heart. Over-the-counter painkillers like ibuprofen and naproxen, for example, can cause your body to retain sodium and fluids, which increases the volume of blood your heart has to pump. Some decongestants found in cold and flu medicines tighten blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow and instantly raising blood pressure. Even certain antidepressants and hormonal treatments can have similar effects. The tricky part is that these side effects aren't always obvious. You might feel perfectly fine while your blood pressure is creeping up silently. Seniors are especially vulnerable because as we age, our bodies process drugs more slowly, meaning the effects, both good and bad, can last longer. And when multiple medications are taken together, known as polypharmacy, their combined effect can push blood pressure higher than any one drug would on its own. Supplements can be just as risky. Many herbal products are marketed as safe and all natural, but that doesn't mean they're harmless. Some, like ginseng, licorice root, and certain weight loss pills, can cause fluid retention or stimulate your heart, leading to higher blood pressure. Even seemingly harmless remedies can interact with prescription drugs in ways that amplify these effects. This is why it's so important to involve your doctor or pharmacist before starting or changing any medication or supplement. Always read labels carefully and watch for ingredients that can affect blood pressure. Keep a list of everything you take, prescription, over-the-counter, and herbal, and bring it to every medical appointment. Regularly checking your blood pressure at home can help you notice if there's a pattern of increase after starting a new medication. It's not about avoiding treatment you need, it's about finding safer alternatives when possible and making informed decisions. For example, there may be other pain relief options that don't raise blood pressure or a different allergy medicine that works without narrowing blood vessels. Small changes in your medication choices can make a big difference in protecting your heart. Because the truth is, the medicines you take to stay healthy should never silently work against your blood pressure and put your life at risk. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer for a reason. You can have it for years without feeling a single symptom, yet during that time it can quietly damage your arteries, heart, kidneys, and even your brain. That's why the most powerful tool you have in protecting yourself is regular monitoring. Checking your blood pressure at home isn't just for people who already have a diagnosis, it's for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the danger. By keeping track of your numbers, you can spot early warning signs before they turn into a medical emergency. Many people only get their blood pressure checked when they visit the doctor, which might be just a few times a year. But blood pressure isn't fixed. It changes throughout the day, depending on your activity, stress levels, diet, and even the weather. This means a reading at the clinic might miss periods when your pressure is dangerously high. A home blood pressure monitor lets you see the real story, showing patterns and helping you and your doctor make better decisions about your health. When you monitor regularly, you can also see how your habits are affecting you. Did your numbers improve after you reduced salt? Did a stressful week push them higher? This feedback helps you take control in a way that guessing never could. It's like having a daily conversation with your heart, one that tells you whether you're on the right track or need to make adjustments. But checking is only half the equation. You also need to act on what you see. If you notice a sudden spike, don't just hope it goes away. Look for the cause. Was it a salty meal, a stressful day, or a missed medication? And if the numbers stay high for more than a couple of days, contact your doctor. Early action can prevent complications that are much harder to reverse later. The check and correct rule is simple but life-saving. Check often and correct quickly. Treat your blood pressure readings like an early warning system, not an afterthought. Just as you wouldn't ignore a smoke alarm, you shouldn't ignore your numbers. Because every reading you take is an opportunity to protect your heart. And every correction you make today could be the reason you avoid a crisis tomorrow.